It is 6:13, and in a News 3 follow-up, the Marion Police Department's new Canine Cares Community Therapy Dog program is underway.
This picture is fantastic.
I love it.
The incentive aims to help residents of all ages who are experiencing a traumatic incident with help of a furry friend. Brooke Slyer joins us now in studio with that canine in town.
Yeah, good morning, Evie and Dave. Well, when I covered this story back in October, Officer Jason Plicka had just started to fundraise for the program as it's solely based on donations and no taxpayer dollars. He had plans to go down south and meet his new pup right here behind me. Here's a look at how that trip went and how Marion's newest officer is getting acclimated.
Good boy, Gary.
Officer Jason Plicka and Gary are attached at the hip. Where one goes, the other follows.
His personality is very, very laid back.
You would never know that they've only known each other for a few weeks. Plicka traveled to Brevard County, Florida for the Sheriff Department's Paws and Stripes College.
Oh, I was so excited. I mean, I got pictures before I went down there, so I knew what Gary looked like, but actually getting to meet him was awesome.
But it wasn't all fun and games. The trip also meant going through canine therapy training with the 3.5-year-old Llewellyn Setter and Great Pyrenees mix.
Go through what we did, we had to interview a 5-year-old child to see how that child we would correlate with and work with Gary while I'm talking to him. Would they be afraid of Gary? What would Gary do?
All in preparation for the Marion Police Department's new Canine Cares Community Therapy Dog program spearheaded by Plicka. This aims to help children and adults who are victims or witnesses to a traumatic incident. Gary has already been hard at work, including consoling a woman during a burglary case.
Feeling violated, someone went into her house, wasn't supposed to be there. She started petting Gary, and all of a sudden she's like, I don't know why, but right now I just feel happy.
As well as a student at a local elementary school who suffers from separation anxiety.
Meet the child was able to kind of calm down a little bit and was able to go back to class after hanging out with Gary for a few minutes. So it's not, the bread and butter, like everyone thinks, oh, a traumatic event, but it's little things like that we're in the school where, a child can benefit just for a couple minutes of meeting Gary.
He's getting comfortable at the police department with his co-workers and the man who calls the shots, Chief David Fitz.
I really didn't know what to expect, and when this big fur ball came in and just laid down on the floor with us, I was really surprised.
Fitz believes Gary can be an asset to his officers after a stressful call or going through something traumatic themselves.
We can see some pretty ugly things, honestly, and usually when we're dealing with somebody, it's not on their best day. So our officers have to deal with that as well and then go home and try to process what they've dealt with, what they've seen, but still be husband, dad,
Fitz says his presence could also provide some stress relief to those who work behind the scenes.
Our dispatch center is incredibly busy. I've never seen anything like it.
Plicka and Gary have already been visiting first responders throughout the city, like air evac medics and firefighters, as well as healthcare staff at hospitals.
All about it. It's not going to relieve everyone's problems for 24 hours a day, but even if they get that instant gratification or that instant release of stress, that's what we're looking for with this.
Instead of man's best friend, maybe Gary is Marion's best friend. Now, Chief Fitz also wants Gary to start working with another group of people in the community that he holds near and dear to his heart. I'll tell you who on News 3 at 6:30, but for now, reporting in studio, Brooke Slyer, News 3.
He's a pretty cute pup.
Yes, he is. He's laid back.
And I love the name, Gary.
It's simple.
You don't mistake that. But